On the bill, Mr. Borelli.
Forgive me if I slow up because this is somewhat of a personal and I guess to some degree emotional issue for me. And I know I've spoken to many of you on this topic in private, and actually in talking to so many of you in the last 3 years I've been here, I've learned a lot that I didn't previously know about two subjects. The first is identity, racial identity, ethnic identity, sexual identity, and the other is discrimination. Right? Many of you taught me so much about discrimination. But this is a textbook case of de jure discrimination. You have two classes of people in the state of New York. You have one class that can go into a county clerk's office or a board of health or whatever it is in your county, and you can ask for your birth certificate. And, you know, some nice little old lady who works there might come out, and she'll hand you a piece of paper, and it'll have all your information on it, who your parents are, their names, right? How big you were. In my case, maybe you were a chubby baby, I don't know. Another class of people are adoptees who don't have this same fundamental right. They go to the same county office. They ask the same little old lady, can I have my birth certificate? The lady says, sure. You have to give me the $10. You give her the little the fee. You fill out the little form. And then she comes back with an awkward face telling you that you're not actually entitled to it. That's discrimination. And that's what the current law of New York State provides. The other thing is about identity. And if you look around this chamber, you see flags. You see flags of Jamaica. You see Ireland. Right? I see flags identifying potentially people's sexual identity. I see Puerto Rico. My friend, Mr. DeLon, waving it. You know, when I was adopted, they gave me some non-identifying information. They told me, this is who you are. As a state, we're going to provide you with as much information as possible. So they gave me some paper. And it said I was a specific ethnic identity. And I believed that my whole life. Right? My whole life. My whole adult life, really. I have a great relationship with my adoptive parents. I don't even call them my adoptive parents. They're my mom and dad. I have a great relationship with them. They gave this information to me. I was shocked at who I was according to this paper. And my whole adult life, I went about thinking I was this particular ethnicity. Right? Imagine one day someone telling you, Mr. DeLon, that you're not Puerto Rican. You are Irish. He's the wrong example, sorry. But imagine that. Imagine that. It was too good not to laugh. But imagine someone telling you in the middle of your adult life that you're actually not this particular identity. You know, how do you react? I was 33 years old, and 32 at the time, and it was only because of the activists in this adoption movement. They said, hey, you know, why don't you take a DNA test to find out more about yourself? And I said, wow, that sounds interesting. Oh, wait, you can't even do it in New York State because that's illegal, too. I had to drive over the bridge to New Jersey to take a DNA test. And I found out something was different. So in a chamber that cares so much about identity and so much about discrimination, this is a bill that will address these two topics for one very important class of people. The other reason is health history. So this same piece of paper that told me I was wrong is now supposed to give me medical information. So this, you know, God bless her for making the right choice for me. I ended up with a wonderful family, but my biological mother was 16 years old at the time. Apparently didn't even know what the father was. Right? Now I'm relying on her information that she provided at 16 to make my medical decisions going forward. How is that fair? Now I know many of you have lost parents and grandparents, and they might not be able to provide you with all the information that you want about, you know, cancers and different genetic diseases, but at least you have the option. Right? My biological family may have died too, who knows? But I can tell you this, 32 years from when I was born, almost 33, my biological parents have suffered diseases. They've suffered different types of cancers. Right? My biological grandparents probably died of something. Right? And all this information I potentially could have if I want to meet my biological mother. And that's the other thing. I mean, what are the opponents of this bill afraid of? I'm an adoptee. I don't want to meet my biological parents. I mean, I wouldn't kick them out if they tried to meet me, but I'm not someone whose life needs to be fulfilled by meeting this person. I'm thankful to her that she made the choice she made, and I can move on with my life. But what is the fear that some people will have that these adoptees, these adult people, these aren't children. When you talk about adoptees, oftentimes people picture children who need protection, and that's fair, right? For 18 years of your life, you are. But as an adult, what are they afraid someone like me is going to do? Right? I would imagine more adoptees are afraid of rejection than afraid of, there's more likelihood that they're afraid of rejection than they are to try to go and disrupt someone's family life. In the states that have done this already, hell didn't freeze over, right? There wasn't a giant increase in abortions. Why? Because most adoptions are open now anyway, right? The sky didn't fall down, right? Can we legislate that awkward conversations never happen? Absolutely not. I just saw an awkward conversation on the floor 5 minutes ago. There's awkward conversations in parts of the state for dozens of reasons. And if that's what we're afraid of, then we should probably re-examine a whole bunch of bills. So I urge my colleagues to really think about adoptees as adults, as humans. This bill is not perfect because it doesn't actually address the first thing I spoke about, equal rights, discrimination. This bill still requires an adoptee to ask permission, like a child. Daddy, can I have my birth certificate, right? Asking a judge. Do any of you who may or may not be adopted, well, I'm saying, do any of you who are not adopted, do you have to go through the same process? No. You go back to that courthouse or that clerk's office, you ask the nice old lady, she gives you the piece of paper. That simple, right? This bill, at the very least, allows adoptees a course of action to get the piece of paper they want. And it really is just a simple piece of paper. To you, it's a piece of paper. And that's the most frustrating part. The little old lady, she sees the paper. She can go into the file cabinet, look up your date, pick it out. She sees the information on it. She doesn't care. No one in the world cares about the information on that paper except the one person in the world who can't actually get it. This bill still requires people to go through a process to get what everyone else is entitled to. I urge my colleagues to vote yes on this bill. I urge my colleagues to consider future amendments that would grant adoptees full rights, as everyone else has, and look at the models of other states. New Jersey just did it, other states as well. The sky didn't fall. The world wasn't turned upside down. And if anything, the states got a little better. Thank you very much.